Alright, welcome to class tonight. I do hope that you are doing well. In this chapter we've been working with many different ways to organize and display data. We've covered frequency tables, line plots, bar graphs, line graphs, and the like. Well, today we're going to be working with another way to display data. Circle graphs. A circle graph is a graph of data where the entire circle represents the whole. You can actually see this on page 342, at the very top right here, a circle graph. There's the definition right there. Now, tomorrow we may actually do a little bit with the investigation portion of the class. That's on page 341. But tonight I want to focus on the examples from the book. Now, we're going to start by practicing reading a circle graph. That's the first objective. It really is very simple, for all we are looking at is the size of the slices or wedges and then comparing them to the other slices. On this graph right here, we can see that they even give us percentage points to help us out. It makes it very easy to read. So here we see that part is 48%, 39%, and then 13%. Now let's go ahead and complete the check understanding section very carefully and quickly. First, the first question is, how are 39% of the apples used? Well, looking at the graph, we see that 39% of the apples are processed. So that's the answer to the first question. Next question. What percent of the apples are not exported? Well, we see in this chart that we see 13% are exported, so that would mean everything else in that chart is not going to be exported. So, by doing some simple addition, 48% plus 39%, we see that it equals 87%. So, the answer to part B is going to be 87. So that, very simply, is reading a circle graph. Next, we're going to be working on creating circle graphs. Now, this is actually going to take a little more math work to complete. Let's go and look at the example. This is once again on page 342. Let's go and look at the example. It says, in 2001, the Seattle Mariners baseball team stole a total of 174 bases. Make a circle graph of the data. Now we look over here, we see the data where this guy stole 56 bases, this guy stole 39 bases, and so on and so forth. Now guys, I want to emphasize right here where it says first, use a calculator. That's a big deal. I do want to emphasize that you can use that, so it will make a lot of things easier. Okay? Alright, now let's go and get started then. We're actually going to start by using the total number of bases stolen, 174, as the denominator here. And then we're going to use the individual number as the individual number of bases as the numerator. So for the first one, so for this guy's right here, we see 56 out of 174. Now, we're actually going to use a calculator for here, and we see, so I'm going to go 56 divided by 174. 56 divided by 174, and that's going to equal, and look at that. Now we see we get a very big decimal. Now with these decimals, you should remember back to the fact that you can take a decimal and make a percent by simply moving the decimal place 2 places over. So that's all you're going to do. And so you see right here, 56 over 174 is close to, very close to, 32%. Now you can complete the rest of them just in the exact same way. You take the number and then divide it by 174, and you get all those different numbers by using a calculator. Alright, now we're simply going to use these percentages right here to go ahead and make our circle graph. Now I do want to emphasize this next portion is going to take some estimating. This is not going to be exact. So when I check this, I'm looking for it to be pretty close, not perfect. The easiest number to start with then in this right here is going to be 26. Now you say, why on earth is 26 going to be the easiest number to start with? Well, 26 is very close to 25, obviously, and 25% is very easy to show on a graph. Now remember that 25 is the same thing as 1/4. So 1/4 of this circle is going to look something like that. Well, if I want to get 26%, all I have to do is go a little bit more than, make that better, a little bit more than 25%. So that's going to be about 26%. Then I'd move on to 22%. Now 22%, once again, is very close to 25%. And so it's just going to be a little less. So once again, I'm simply going to take my graph and I'm going to, let me make that better. Take my graph, and it's going to be something like that, 22%. That's going to be pretty close to 22%. Now, the next one I would actually go to is going to be 32%. Now, 32% is bigger than 26%, so I'm going to make my pie a little bit bigger in that case. So it's going to be probably something like that, okay? And then finally, we see whatever is left over is going to be 20%. Now, with this, I would definitely go ahead and mark what these is. So that's 26%. This is going to be 22%. This is going to be 32%. And this one's going to be 20%. Now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to emphasize this is not exact. It is simply estimating. We just have to get pretty close to it. Does that make sense? All right, then. For our practice, let's complete the check understanding at the bottom of page 342. So that's this right here. Check understanding, bottom page 342. Let's start by making our chart and then our fractions. But first, let's go and read the question. It says, of 50 students surveyed, 13 preferred hot lunch, 9 packed a lunch, 6 ate at the salad bar, and 22 brought sandwiches. Make a circle graph of the data. So you can go ahead and see, I actually go ahead and made a chart right here. We're going to use this chart for our graph. Now, remember that our total number of lunches, or total number of people eating, or total number of students was 50. So 50 is going to be our denominator, and the numerators are going to be the individual choices. So the hot lunch choices, the packed lunch choices, the salad bar choices, and the sandwich choices. Now, for this, I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up the calculator again. So I'm going to erase this. I'm going to pull up the calculator again, because right here we're going to see 13 over 50. So that's our first one. So let's go ahead and pull up the calculator, clear this off. All right, so I'm going to go 13 divided by 50. And I get 26%. So right here, for the hot lunch people, that's going, or for those who chose hot lunch, it's going to be 26%. So that's my percentage there. Now my next one is packed lunch. I see 9 out of 50 students pick that one. So once again, I'm going to pull up my calculator. 9 divided by 50 is going to equal 18%. So we see for packed lunch it's going to be 18%. And then moving on, 6 out of 50. Once again, I'm using my 50 as my denominator. Pull up my calculator. So 6 divided by 50 is going to equal 12%. So that's 12%. And then finally, my sandwich is going to be 22 over 50. 22 over 50, once again, pull up my calculator. 22 divided by 50 is going to equal 44%. So in this case, it's 44%. Now I'm simply going to use this to go ahead and make my circle graph. Now I'm once going to start with 26% because that is really, really close to 25%. So let's go ahead and do this. That's going to be pretty close to 26%. Now I'm actually going to go to, let's do 18% next because that's still pretty close. So 18% is going to be something like that. 12% is going to be even smaller. Let me make that a little better actually. 12% is going to be even smaller, and then finally my 44% is going to be the last thing. Now the very last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and mark what each of these is. That's 26%, that's 18%, that's 12%, and that's 44% right there. So you see I made my circle graph. Once again, it's obviously not perfect, but it is pretty close, and with this, that's what we're looking at. Alright, well that is the lesson then, guys. For homework, I would like you to complete pages 343, 1 through 6 even, and then bring that into class tomorrow. Once again, that's page 343, 1 through 6, do only the even, and then go ahead and bring that into class tomorrow. Well, I do thank you for your attention, and please have a wonderful, wonderful night.